In this episode, I want to talk about resilience. Resilience is one of my favorite words. And I think what prompted me to want to talk about this is the current horrific events that happened in my hometown of Bondi only a couple of days ago with the terrorist attacks. You know, once that whole thing went down, all I saw was people running, chaos, people in fear, people terrified, not knowing what was going on, and kind of just, everyone for themselves. And what I saw a couple of days later was the exact opposite. I saw communities, people coming together, people checking in on strangers, businesses staying open, runners returning to the same routes, and locals refusing to let fear win. Now, I would say that's resilience on a massive scale, and that's a collective we're not breaking down, which happens every single day all around the world. In wars, in natural disasters, in human loss. It's communities absorbing unthinkable impact and choosing to rebuild. Now, here's what I want to talk about today. The small scale version of that. Your personal Bondi moment. The day you got that diagnosis. The relationship that ended. The job that you lost. The goal that you failed at. The moment that your body gave out on you. Because here's the thing. We are all practicing resilience daily, just on a smaller stage. And most of us are doing it without protocol, without a plan, just white-knuckling through and hoping that we come out the other side stronger. I'm Vanya, and today we are breaking down what resilience actually is, why some people have it and others don't, and the exact ritual that I use to bounce back from setbacks. Because the hits are always going to keep coming. And if you don't know how to get back up, you're done. So let's start with what resilience actually is. What is it in practice, in your body, in your life? I'll tell you what it's not. It's not never breaking. It is not toxic positivity. It's not pretending that everything's fine when it's not. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius wasn't saying, stay positive when Rome was falling apart around him. He was saying, you can't control the barbarians at the gate, but you can control how you respond. That's it. That is the whole game. Because you have power over your mind, not outside events. Think about that in your life. You can't control the injury, but you can control whether you do the rehab and the movement. You can't control the breakup, but you can control whether you process it or numb it. You can't control the failure, but you can control what you extract from it. Nietzsche said, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, and everyone slaps that over a tank top and calls it a day. But he wasn't talking about just enduring shit. He was talking about metabolizing it, taking the pain and turning it into something useful. Using resistance as raw material. That's active, not passive. That's transformation and not just survival. And then you look at people like Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the Nazi concentration camps and came out on the other side to write Man's Search for Meaning, an amazing book if you haven't read it. His observation, the people who survived weren't the physically strongest. They were the people who could find meaning in the suffering, who could say, this hell has a purpose, even if I don't see it yet. And that's what resilience looks like at the extreme end of human experience. But here is what it looks like for you and me. Resilience is your ability to take a hit, feel the full weight of that hit, and then choose what happens next. It's not bouncing back like nothing happened. Sometimes you don't bounce back at all, you crawl back. Sometimes you come back different. Sometimes you come back quieter or harder or more careful, but you do come back. That's the practice. Notice that I said practice. This isn't something that you either have or you don't have. It is something that you build over time, the same way that you build a muscle. Through repeated exposure, through intentional training, through failing and trying again. So let's talk about why resilience matters. And I'm going to be very blunt about it. You are going to get hurt multiple times in ways you can't even predict and in ways that you don't sign up for. Your body will break down. Someone that you love will leave. A dream that you invested everything in will fail. You will work your ass off for something and watch someone else get the credit for it. You will do everything right and you will still lose. That's not pessimism. That is just being alive. And here's a fork in the road. Some people experience that and it ends them. It cripples them. Not physically. They do keep breathing and they do keep going through the motions, but something in them breaks. It dies. They become bitter or they become numb or they just stop trying altogether. And I've watched this happen to incredibly talented people. I've seen athletes who could have gone pro quit after one major injury because they didn't know how to rebuild. I've seen entrepreneurs with brilliant ideas fold after their first failure because they took it as a verdict on their worth. And then I've also watched people with half the talent, half the advantages, go 10 times further because they knew how to get back up. The difference isn't talent, it's not luck, it's not even opportunity, it is resilience. It is the mental architecture that says, this isn't over, I'm going to keep going. And here's what the research actually shows. People with higher resilience live longer, have better physical health, maintain stronger relationships, and report higher life satisfaction. But you don't need a study to tell you that. You know it intuitively. The people in your life who can handle adversity, they are the ones that you trust. They are the ones who show up. They are the ones who build things that last, because nothing worth having comes easy. And if you can't handle difficulty, you can't build anything meaningful. Your talent is irrelevant if you quit. Your knowledge is useless if you fold under pressure. Your potential means absolutely nothing if you can't weather the inevitable storms. Resilience isn't a nice-to-have personality trait. It is the foundation everything else is built on. Without it, you are building on sand. So why do some people have resilience and others don't? Let's kill the myth first and foremost. Nobody is born resilient, but some people develop it earlier, and that gives them a head start. Early exposure to manageable adversity builds the blueprint. If you grew up facing challenges that were hard but not overwhelming, and you had some support while facing them, you learnt a crucial lesson. Difficulty is survivable. You built evidence that you can handle hard things. We can apply this to movement. For example, gymnasts. Gymnasts who fell back learning handsprings probably 1,000 times over. And it wasn't traumatic for them, it was training. And it taught their nervous system something critical. Failure is not fatal. You should not fear pain because pain is temporary. You get back up and that became wired into them. But if you grew up in an environment where every challenge was either completely removed from you or completely overwhelming, you didn't get to build that muscle. You didn't develop the reference points. Modeling matters more than people realize. If the adults around you responded to stress with resilience, if you watch them face difficulty and adversity, process it and move forward, you learned that pattern. You absorbed it like a language. But if you watch the adults around you crumble, avoid, blame others, cry victim, or self-medicate every time things got hard, then you learned that pattern instead. Neither of these is a moral judgment, it's just pattern recognition. Kids learn what they see. Then there's the story that you were told about yourself, where you've raised hearing, you can figure this out, or you're just not good at hard things. Were you praised for effort or only for outcomes? Were mistakes treated as data or as evidence that you are broken? Those narratives became your internal operating system. If you were raised with a fixed mindset, you either have it or you don't, then setbacks became proof that you don't have it. If you were raised with a growth mindset, you can develop anything through practice, then setbacks become information. But here is the critical thing I need you to understand. None of this is permanent. Your brain can rewire at any age. Neuroplasticity is real. You can learn resilience at 15 or at 50. It just takes intentional practice. The people who struggle with resilience are not weak. They just haven't been taught the skills. They don't know how to sit with discomfort without panicking. They don't know how to process difficulty without avoiding it or catastrophizing it. And that is a skill deficit, not a character flaw. And skills, like anything, can be learned. So that's why we need to touch on the role of physical strength and movement when it comes to resilience. Movement matters so much in all of this because this is where philosophy meets physiology. Your body is where you practice resilience in real time. Think about the last time that you did something physically hard, really hard, where your muscles were burning, your lungs were screaming, and every fiber of your being was telling you to stop. What did you do? Did you quit? Or did you stay with it? That moment, that exact moment of discomfort, that is resilience training. That is your nervous system learning to stay present under pressure instead of panicking or collapsing. Simple thing, when you're holding a plank and it's burning, you have two options, bail or breathe through it. When you're doing your 8th rep and your muscles are shaking and they're telling you to stop, you get to choose, stop or keep pushing through. When you fail a movement for the 10th time, you decide, should I walk away or try one more time? Every single one of these moments is practice. And here's what is happening biologically. When you train, you are creating controlled stress. Your muscles experience micro-trauma. Your nervous system gets activated. And then, this is the key, your body adapts, it repairs, it comes back stronger, bigger, better. And that's not a metaphor, that is the literal process of stress breakdown and adaptation. And this is all happening inside of your tissues as you move. And your brain is also watching. Your brain is building a database of evidence. We can handle hard things. We can experience discomfort without dying. We can recover and come back stronger. When you hold a 60-second handstand, your shoulders are on fire, your core is shaking, you want to quit so badly, you are afraid. But you practice staying present with that fear. You practice not panicking. You practice breathing through the suck. And that's nervous system training. And here's what the research shows. Exercise increases BDNF, this protein that helps your brain form new neural connections. You are literally growing your capacity to adapt. People who strength train regularly report higher resilience in their daily lives, not because they are tougher people, but because they have a practice, they have evidence. They've proven to themselves repeatedly, time and again, that they can push through discomfort. Movement also teaches you how to regulate your nervous system. When you're stressed, your sympathetic nervous system is jacked, your fight or flight mode. Movement, especially mindful movement in these situations, activates your parasympathetic system. It teaches your body how to downregulate after activation. And that's resilience at the physiological level, the ability to activate when you need to and recover when it's over. And here's what I've observed coaching thousands of people. The person who can control their body under load can control their mind under pressure and stress. Can you hold a position when it hurts? Can you complete a workout when you are exhausted? Can you attempt a movement pattern after failing it 50 times over? That builds a reference library. I can do hard shit. I have proof. And then when life knocks you down, when the relationship ends, when the project fails, when the diagnosis comes, your nervous system isn't starting from zero. It has evidence, it has skill, it has capacity. We've been under pressure before. We know how to handle this. And that's why I care so much about physical practice. It's not just about abs or aesthetics. It is about building the mental architecture to handle life. So how do we cultivate and nurture resilience? Let's get practical because philosophy is useless without application. First of all, change how you interpret stress. Your body doesn't know the difference between good stress and bad stress until your brain tells it. The same physiological response, elevated heart rate, cortisol release, heightened focus, can either prepare you to perform or send you into panic. The difference is your interpretation. So next time that you are stressed, try this. Instead of thinking, I can't handle this, literally say out loud to yourself, my body is preparing me to handle this. Watch what happens to your nervous system. Research from Stanford shows that when you view stress as enhancing rather than debilitating, your cortisol response is healthier and your performance improves. But you don't need the study to show you, just try it yourself. Your body will tell you. Second, practice voluntary discomfort. This is critical. If the only time that you experience difficulty is when life forces it on you, then you're always in reactive mode. You're always scrambling. But if you choose discomfort regularly when the stakes are low, you build capacity for when the stakes are high. So simple things: take cold showers, jump into the ice bath, do workouts that suck, have the difficult conversation that you've been avoiding. Stop eating and fast occasionally. Sit with boredom without reaching for your phone. I'm not talking about self-punishment here. I'm talking about building your tolerance for discomfort. Exactly the same way that you would build strength. Progressive overload. A little more each time. Third, build a recovery protocol. This is where most people screw up. They think that resilience is just about pushing through. It's not. It's about knowing how to recover. Elite athletes don't just train hard. They have recovery protocols. They take care of their sleep, nutrition, mobility, therapy, journaling, mindset. They know that adaptation happens during recovery, not during the stress itself. So what's your protocol? When you get knocked down, what are the non-negotiables that help you come back? For me, sleep is non-negotiable. Movement is non-negotiable. Talking to specific people who can hold space without trying to fix me is a non-negotiable. Figure out yours, write it down, because when you are in the thick of it, you won't have the bandwidth to figure it out on the fly. Fourth, watch your language. Your self-talk programs your subconscious. If you keep saying, I can't handle this, I'm not good enough, well, guess what? You won't. Stop saying that I'm not good at hard things. Start saying, I'm building my capacity for hard things. Stop saying, I can't do this, and start saying, I haven't figured this out just yet, but I'm working on it. That one word, yet, changes everything. It keeps the door open. Fifth, find meaning in the struggle. This is Frankel's lesson from the concentration camps. People who found meaning in their suffering endured better. You don't have to be grateful for the pain, but you can ask, what is this teaching me? How am I being refined? What version of me is being forged right now? The suffering has more power if you give it purpose. Sixth, don't do it alone. Resilience is not about being a lone wolf. It's about knowing who to call when you need help. Who are your people? Who can you be vulnerable with? Who can hold space for you without trying to fix you or minimize what you are actually going through? Isolation kills resilience. Connection fuels it. Build your circle, protect it, and use it. And now, what I promised you, the thing that I've never shared publicly. When I face a real setback, not a minor inconvenience, but a genuine hit that knocks me sideways, I have a 48-hour protocol. And it works for me because it honors the full cycle of what your body and your mind actually need. So I call it the 48-hour reset protocol. Hour 0 to 6 is the permission phase. I give myself full permission to feel everything. No spiritual bypassing, no toxic positivity, no everything happens for a reason bullshit. If I'm angry, I'm angry. If I'm sad, I'm sad. If I want to scream or cry or punch something, I let it move through me. I might call a friend and vent. I might journal rage-filled nonsense that I will never read again. I might cry in the shower. Whatever needs to happen. But, and this is critical, I set a timer, 6 hours, that's it. Why? Because emotions need to move through you, not set up camp in you. They are information, not an identity. You feel them fully and then you move forward. Most people either suppress emotions entirely or let them run the show indefinitely. Both of these are problems. You need the middle path. Feel it fully, then move on. Hour 6 to 24, the body phase. After 6 hours, I move my body hard. I train in a way that demands total presence. For me, that's usually some sort of strength work, running, sprinting, or handstand work. Something technical that requires focus. You cannot hold a freestanding handstand while ruminating about your problems. Your body just won't let you. You have to be completely here in the now. And this does 3 things. It metabolizes stress hormones physically. It gets them out of your system. 2, it proves to your body that you are still capable of something difficult. 3, it shifts your state completely. After that, I do something restorative like mobility work, breath work, a long walk. Something that tells my nervous system we can activate hard and we can recover. But we're not stuck in fight or flight. We have control. This is teaching your body the full cycle: stress, activation, recovery. Most people get stuck in chronic activation, and this breaks that pattern. Hour 24 to 36, the perspective phase. This is where I journal, but not free-form emotional dumping. I have a structure. I ask 3 questions. Number 1, what actually happened? Facts only. No story, no interpretations, no drama. Just what are the facts? Number 2, what can I control going forward? Not what I wish I could control, what I actually can control. And 3, what is this teaching me? Not what's the silver lining, what specific lesson is available here if I look for it. And then I call someone wise, not someone who will just validate my feelings or tell me what I want to hear, but someone who's been through hard shit and came out the other side with wisdom. I tell them what happened, I listen to their perspective, I let them reflect back to me what they see. And this does something crucial. It breaks you out of your own head. When you are in crisis, you lose perspective. Other people can see what you can't. And hour 36 to 48 is the action phase. By this point, the acute emotional charge is gone. I've processed it physically, I've gained perspective, and now it's time to move. I identify the smallest possible action I can take to move forward. Not the whole situation. I don't need to solve everything. Just one step. Maybe it's sending one email, making one phone call, rewriting one page, having one conversation. Fixing one small thing. It doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is that I prove to myself I'm not frozen, I'm not stuck, I'm in motion. And motion creates momentum. By hour 48, I'm back. Maybe not at 100%, maybe still bruised, but I'm back in the game. I'm moving forward. This works because it respects how humans actually process difficulty. You can't think your way out of emotions. You have to feel them. You can't just feel them forever. You have to metabolize them physically. You can't stay in your own perspective. You need outside input. And you can't just analyze forever. You have to take action. Feel, move, think, act. That's the cycle. So here's what I need you to understand before we end this. Resilience isn't about being unbreakable. Nobody is unbreakable. We all crack. We all fall apart. The question is, do you know how to put yourself back together? The strongest people I know aren't the ones who never break. They are the ones who break regularly, and they have a system for reassembly. They've practiced it enough times that it's not a question if they get back up. It's just a matter of when they'll get back up. And that's what I want for you. Not to never fall, not to never fail, but to know with certainty that you can get back up and be resilient. You are going to get hit. That's not optional. The hits keep coming all the time. That's the deal that you signed when you decided to build something, to love someone, to try something, to be someone. But the opportunities also keep coming, and opportunities only come to people who are still standing, the people who are still moving, the people who are still in the game. So build your ritual, test it, refine it, make it yours. Train your body to handle difficulty. Train your mind to process adversity. Build the evidence that you can do hard shit, because this is the work. This is what separates the people who make it from the people who don't. It's not talent, it's not luck, it is not even opportunity. The ability to take a hit and to keep moving, that's resilience. That's the practice. That's what determines everything else. I want you to start applying some of these elements today, and I want you to keep moving forward.